It's so great to see so many of you here, and I see our list is growing about, look at this, from Ottawa, Canada, Seattle, Pakistan, Tennessee, Hungary, London, Montana, India, um, Atlanta, from the world of Coca-Cola. That's very funny, Reba. I went to the Coca-Cola Museum there. It was sort of fun. Um, Antwerp, Belgium, from Moana. Luna is in Spain. Christine is in Virginia, in the US. Elza is in Portugal. Cecilia is in New York. Let's see who else we got here. Is that everybody? Oh, I'm going to put me in here. Um, everyone. Bev in Venice, Los Angeles, Venice, California. And is everybody on here? Joanna, are you on here? Hussein, you on here? Sari is in Montreal. Hi, welcome. Welcome. And okay, a nice group here. Nice group. Welcome all. We are truly from all over the place. Um, Greece, we got a couple from Greece here who are staff people, who work with us. Um, we have another group. We don't have a lot of people. I'm impressed that the person from India that you're on this call because we're trying to be globally minded. So you'll hear later that we're starting like a duplicate of this for a different time zone that's a lot later. I will be in bed asleep. It'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning for me, but Jessica is going to lead that, and we'll have the same coaching bite, and we'll have the same power for people who that time zone is a lot better for them. So we're gonna do that. Okay. Um, and there's Daniel Etta. Welcome, Daniel. Yes, everybody, put your video on if you can for a second. Joanna is going to do a snapshot of all of us. Sarisha, welcome. I'm going to turn off this. I'm going to remove this.
She
Christine, can you put your
mentioned
video
she's
on
not
for a
able to
second?
right now.
Oh, she can't. She can't. Okay. And Sarisha, can you put your is it doable right now?
Not for me, sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we'll do it. Everybody smile. We're gonna do this. Okay, wait for Sarah. Wait for Sarah. Sarah, turn on your video. Okay, good. You smile. We're taking a picture. One, two, three. Two, three. Okay,
Okay,
great. Thank
it's
you.
done.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. It's so good to see so many smiley faces here. Some new faces and some people who have been here for a while. Welcome. Let me quickly share my screen on an agenda so you'll know what's going to go on today. Okay. Um, so consider yourself welcomed. um, and here's the agenda. We're going to introduce the new coaches and mentors very briefly so you get to see who they are and where they're from. Um, we're going to give you some brief updates. A lot is going on in our organization and just want you to be really familiar with things that are happening. And we're going to have a coaching bite by Caroline and on neuroscience of trauma. And so we're really excited since we're dealing with refugees and it's a little bit different than maybe coaching executives in a corporate setting. And then if we have time, we always seem to run out, but if we have time, we'll have some coach mentor peer sharing. If there's an issue that you're having with one of your clients, you can put it out there and get advice from other people. All right. So before we get into the updates, I'm going to stop sharing and would like, why is everybody up there? Um, can we would like you to introduce. Did I stop sharing? Why are you all at the top of my screen? There we go. Um, I'd like to invite people to just kind of introduce yourselves. Maybe we'll start with Ayesha. 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 Um,
Yeah,
kind of introduce yourself. Where are you from? Where are you living? And just a sentence or two about the kind of coaching or mentoring practice that you have.
sure.
Okay.
Aisha. I'm Aisha.
Aisha. Aisha. Okay.
I'm in Karachi, Pakistan. I have been working as a therapist here for over 10 years. Recently went into coaching as a life and well-being coach last year and working towards my ICF certification for that.
Great. Excellent. We're delighted to have you. Thank you. Thank you. And who else is their first time? I'm looking, I've got so many people on the call here. Um, where are you all? Where are you all? Raise your hand if this is your first time. Okay. And Anjit.
Yes, you got it.
That was hard. Okay.
Yes. I know. Hey,
Welcome.
everyone. Yes, thank you. My name is Angie Sotillo. I live in Seattle, Washington, so very familiarized with, refugees and people in need to leave to move to another country. Um, I specialize in leadership coaching, professional development, and I'm currently completing my certification with ICF, and I'm very happy to be here and excited to meet everyone.
And you work for Amazon, right?
Yes, I do work for
Yeah, yeah,
Amazon.
yeah. So we're delighted. Anjit is our first coach from Lat from like South America or Latin America, right? And we don't have any clients there, but we want to go after them. And one of our board members, Bessem, is the head of UNHCR, United Nations High Commission of Refugees in Guatemala. And she's going to help us kind of target it's tricky to get, educated English speaking refugees. But I think we're going to hit on Argentina. I hear that there are a lot there. And so we're delighted to have you. And hopefully we'll have some clients in that region very soon because we're really going to focus on getting more clients right now. So thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Lenny, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to say someone, Heike has her hand up. Maybe, does she?
I just wanted to say
Oh,
hello. That's because you said raise your hand if you're new, so I raised my hands.
Oh,
oh, I didn't even see that. I see that. Okay. Um, so should we take her first? You want to go
yeah,
first since your hand
yeah,
was up and you
she should
followed
go.
directions so well?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm Heike. I'm based out of Germany. I work for Arda in talent management as a and I'm sort of like and I do code accreditation, collecting part of coaching hours and coaching hours. So I rather coach internally, and I'm specialized in leader development and talent management. But it's a nice addition to sort of like the thought of doing something for good.
Great. Thank you so much. It's a delight to have you here. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go back to Lenny. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm going to pay attention to hands going up now.
My name is Lenny Wildflower. I've been teaching coaches for 100 years. I think I taught at Fielding Graduate University in Santa Barbara, California, um, uh, in their master's program, and I started the first evidence-based coaching program. And then when I moved to um, London, I just I have my own program. That's a level 2 training program. And the person who has been my heart and my guide and my wonderful partner the whole time is Cindy Miller, who's also here,
Raise your hand, Cindy.
and she and you know,
Yeah,
she's she's an extraordinary coach.
she is.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that's what I do. And it how do I say this? If anyone is in trouble about getting certification, I'm handing over this program at some point, but if there's someone who's in trouble about certification or having some kind of issues with it, I can help you. Okay.
okay. Great.
I'm here to do that. pro
Thank,
bono. Okay.
thank you for offering that. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Because we're really big on professional development for our coaches, and so we appreciate that offer. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Welcome.
Who else? Anybody else here who is their first time? I think, as you all have familiar looking faces, so I think we're all good. Okay. Then let me give you a quick update on where we're at. Hold on. Okay. So this is our March client, but also it's from the beginning of the year. Since the beginning of the year, we've had 76 coaching sessions completed. And I saw that there were like about 3 or 4 more session completion forms that you folks submitted. And so my number is already old. Thank you for completing those. It really helps us with our metrics. So this month we had only 13 applicants. And we ended up with clients from DRC, Eritrea, and Burundi. You know, it's all from Africa. They're resettled in Malawi, Yemen, and Rwanda. And I want to ask Hussein to talk about this a little bit because we're noticing a decrease in numbers, and we're thinking about what's going on. So Hussein, why don't you
Yeah,
talk about that a bit?
thank you, Beth. So basically, the decreasing of the numbers in our applicants and the clients, it's because of a couple of reasons. First of all, we were in Ramadan, so plenty of refugees, Muslim refugees, are busy with, their ritual. And the other thing, which the most important one, is recently Europe has paused all the asylum procedure for the Syrians. And that made, plenty of refugees thinking about their fate and their destiny here in Europe. At the same time, also, there's plans from the German government to deport a big portion of refugees back to their own country after the regime has been fall down, back in Syria. So all of those refugees, as I'm on daily touch with them, even Afghans are worrying about their fate here in Europe, and also it's like some other nationalities. They were telling me the same, that they are so anxious about their residence here in Europe, about their fate, about their work, about their work permit. So that's why it's like, we are having a huge reduction in terms of applying for Refugee JumpStart program. Also, not to mention, I think it's like maybe Beth, you can give us a couple of sentences about the US situation regarding, the refugees.
Oh my God. I don't know what to say. I'm just so embarrassed. Um, if we get applications, it's like, where are you located now and where would you like to go? And do you have a plan for the next year? They'll write US. I go, forget that. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? So it's very, very difficult for refugees right now. Um, I do think that there is an advantage because money has stopped, resettlement agencies have lost funding, global refugee organizations have lost tremendous amount of funding worldwide. And I do think that there's an opportunity for people who care about refugees to want to support organizations like ours, because it's the one thing that they can do that's still working. We're not dependent on U.S. funds, even though we're a U.S.-based organization. We really depend on individual donations, and we have some money from some donors in Saudi Arabia, who did our research project and funded that. So we have funding that way. But it is difficult, and I think everyone is kind of so we're going to see. But I think a lot of it, honestly, the lower numbers had to do with Ramadan, especially for the Middle
Yeah.
Easterners. I think that month was a real lower. But we're Joanna, who's on our call, who's our communications director. She and her team are going to really focus on bringing in new members in U.S., Latin America, and
Hmm.
Europe. We're going to really focus on those areas. The Africans seem to be coming, and that's not a problem identifying, getting them to sign up, and they're fabulous clients, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Beth,
so just to
just
kind of
let
be a
me
Yeah,
let me add one
please.
thing. Also, it's like, please, 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 all the coaches, encourage your clients to encourage their peer refugees to apply for our program. This is really important. I mean, it's like, it won't fix the problem, with the EU, or with the deportation, but at least as a refugee, I'm always encouraging my peer refugees to apply for the coaching program because coaching does help and it help a lot. You know this, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's so important that when you talk with your clients or even past clients, you want to check in how you're doing. Do you have any friends that you think, who are educated like you are and English speaking? We have room, we have coaches that are willing to help and the application's right on our website. It says apply. So it's easy to find. So thank you for that, Hussein. That was really important. So just to show you the impact that we're having, because I don't know, it sure motivates me. Um, at the end, we do a pre, you folks help with a pre and post assessment. On the second session, I think you do a pre-assessment, and on the 8th, which is the official last session. But then a few weeks later, Jessica sends them what do you call it, Jessica? An exit interview or an exit
Yeah, like a reflection survey is exit interview or reflection survey.
question survey. And so she put together some of the statements of these people. So this is what they're saying about, and we asked for feedback, what worked, what didn't work. So I just want to share some of this with you. It improved my confidence, my ability to verbalize my strengths professionally and personally. Coaching has been an invaluable, I gotta move it, an invaluable experience in helping me define my career path with greater clarity and confidence. It provided me with actionable strategies for job searching and professional development. Most importantly, it empowered me to believe in my potential and take proactive steps toward achieving my goals, which is exactly the kind of outcomes we're looking for, right? The Refugee JumpStart initiative has been a transformative force in my life, both personally and professionally. Personally, coaching has been a source of empowerment and resilience. The structured guidance and mentorship have helped me to set realistic goals. I've learned to harness my strengths and address my weaknesses, leading to a more balanced and fulfilling life, and create actionable plans to achieve them. Coaching not only boosted my confidence, but it also enhanced my ability to inspire and support my family and community. And RGS has been a cornerstone of my journey. It has nurtured my growth as a leader and advocate, empowered me to make meaningful contributions to my community. It has enriched my life, and I'm profoundly grateful for the opportunity. I don't know about you, but I got to swell up with with pride and all of you for making this happen and for really having a dramatic impact on their journey. I mean, it's really, really inspiring. And this is exactly what we hope and by the way, what our research that we did last year on the efficacy of coaching refugees on their well-being and employability, we proved the employability was not as strong because after 8 weeks, they're not going to find their dream job perhaps after 8 sessions, but well-being significantly improved. And you can see some of this, the building of self-confidence, the feeling of empowerment. So it's quite exciting. So some more updates. Hussein and I are going to London. I haven't been there in many years. It'll be Hussein's first time, I think, to present at Hult University, Ashridge, at a conference there on coaching. It's called relational coaching, but it's on coaching conscious. It's a coach. No, it's not coaching conscious. I'm sorry. It's trauma conscious conference. It's on June 19th. All of you are invited to attend. It's in the UK. It's outside of London. We're doing a workshop on coaching to strengthen refugee resilience and well-being. And we're going to be sharing.
I just want to tell
Pardon
you,
me?
it's a beautiful spot. If you can
It
make
is.
it face to face, it's a beautiful place. So
It is. And we're gonna send a link. Now that we've got the agenda finalized a little bit, we'll send a link to it because it is this. And as an American, seeing these kind of amazing manners, they look like palaces. We don't have that here, so we're really excited. Um, Hussein and I have been working really hard on refining this refugee mindset that we've been working on. And we've got 4 clearly defined that we're going to ask. We ask for input from you folks on one of them. And Hussein took those comments about what are some coaching strategies can deal with somebody with a victim mentality or distrust of systems or that sort of thing, disempowerment. And we've integrated that into coaching techniques to do that. And it's going to be an interactive workshop. And so we're going to get all these other coaches to give their feedback to really make our coaching tips and techniques really robust to address mental models. Um, and any of our coaches who are going to be there, we're going to ask them to participate, just for a couple of minutes, talking about their client and what they've learned in terms of coaching somebody with coach trauma.
And it looks like Bev, I'm sorry to interrupt. It
Yeah.
looks like the conference is the it says the 19th, but it looks like there was some
Oh,
tidbits
it's
and
not the 19th.
it's the 13th.
Thank you so much. You're right.
That was not me, Sarah.
Sarah, thank you. And a big thank you to Sarah, which I'm going to thank again later, who organized our UK thing, which is right here, and who connected us with the guy who's in charge of the conference for us to make a pitch that they accepted. So thank you so much, Sarah. We're having our first in-person coaches meeting, like a UK regional hub. Again, we invite other people if you happen to be in the London area or want to come. For the conference is on a Friday, and then we're having this meeting at that same location on a Saturday. And did I get this date right? I got that date right.
Bev, you have a hand being raised, by Riva.
Oh, Riva,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Yes, Riva. Question.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Hussein. Thanks, Bev. A quick question about the Trauma Conscious Conference. Will there be a recording for us who cannot go there?
I don't know. I'm kind of doubting it, but I'll ask. I'm kind of Sarah, would you know? I mean, it's a big conference. There's going to be like 150 people.
Yeah, so the day RJ is present or
so
they are participating.
Or Sarah, what were you going to say?
And so there won't be a recording, but this year it's being run online as well as in person. So if anybody wants to virtually, that's an option. It's a slightly different conference. So for example, like the breakout rooms. So for example, the session that Bev and Hussein are doing, that won't be offered as an online option, but there will be other workshops as well if anyone's interested.
So that is great news. Thank you for that. And not only that, I'm assuming they've got to pay.
Yeah, so it's half the price. So in person is £300 with a bit of a discount, 20% discount, and online it's £150. I assume that would also be with the 20% discount. So yeah, maybe have a conversation with Bev if you're interested.
Okay, so we negotiated a 20% discount. So our people have to pay, is it £200, right? I think they have to pay 200. It's normally 300, something like that.
Yeah, 240 for the in-person.
240. Okay, for the in-person. But we'll give you the code. Do you happen to have the code handy? Well, we'll send you all that information. We'll send it to you separately.
Okay. Thanks, Bev. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the question and thanks for asking, Sarah. I mean, for answering. So for our Refugee JumpStart meeting, we're going to share lessons learned from the conference on trauma conscious coaching. So we want to see what we've learned that we could bring into our coaching. Sharpening our coaching tools. Annabelle and Evie are going to be doing a presentation. Sarah, what's the name of their presentation? Do you recall what the topic, what it was?
It's about values.
Yeah, how do we integrate the values of
they're talking
into our coaching? Oh, there's a cute little baby. And then, I mean, the planning group came up with these. They want to talk about brainstorming elements of a future ICF certified RJS coaching program, training program. So we're going to spend some time doing that, and also how to strengthen RJS in the UK. And if this works, this regional meeting, we might have some opportunities to do it in some of the other regions as well. So we're kind of, as you'll notice, we do a lot of pilots. We try things a lot. And Sarah has been so helpful in kind of organizing that group. Any other questions right now? Shout it out because I don't have all of you on my screen here. Okay, so just to let you know about upcoming trainings. On April 15th, well, oh, it became funny. before that, Hussein, why don't you mention, we're just launching this program that Hussein has been leading on entrepreneurship. We've got some clients who are they want to create their own businesses. They're motivated. They've got ideas. But anyway, Hussein, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, really in a brief, in a brief, sentences. Thank you, Beth. So basically, we were planning for this program and we worked hard on it. Me and Veronica, the coordinator, the entrepreneurship coordinator, for almost now 1 year, I think so. It's like the idea started in 2023, 2024. And, we were working, we hired professors, Refugee JumpStart hired professors, really estimated professors who created the content leadership so it's like basically it consists 4 modules, each module focusing on certain area, financial literacy, leadership, fast pitch event, all this kind of stuff. And finally, tomorrow, it's our first introduction for this entrepreneurial minded refugees. So we selected 7 out of a couple of other applicants who applied here in Athens as a pilot project. And yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna open it and we're gonna start, providing them with the materials. The good thing about this program, it has, that Refugee Jumpstart covered, the whole entrepreneurship program. And it's also at the end of the program, there is certain prize that will be offered to some refugees who's gonna do a good job in the fast pitch event and their business idea will be convinced to invest in it. So basically we are offering them some cash prizes in September, hopefully. It's like when we're gonna close, the program. And then later on, we're gonna evaluate and see how did we do, during this pilot project, if it's doable for Refugee Jumpstart to extend it or not, or doing another cohort. So yeah, that's it. In case if you have any question, please feel free to reach out to me. And unfortunately, I cannot tell you that you can invite your clients or your applicant because it's all here in Greece, Athens, and it's also closed now. The deadline has been passed.
Thank you, Hussein. Let me just add, we have a lot of people worldwide refugee clients who want to start their own business. So many of them want to start their own NGOs. It's like straight out of school. I go, oh, God bless you. So if any of you have some entrepreneurship background or are kind of skilled in coaching entrepreneurs, let us know. So that when we do some matching, we can match you with them because this program is very limited and it's one location and only 7 people. But we do have a lot of requests for wanting entrepreneurship. And if you're like me, a corporate leadership coach, it's like I don't quite know how to do that. So anyway, we could use your expertise. These are things we want you to let your current and former clients know about. And we're also going to be sending emails out to them. How to showcase your resilience for employers. Do you remember if you were here last month, Agata presented a thing on how do you transform that refugee kind of sometimes negative connotation about a refugee to flip it on its side and talk about how it shows about resilience, about determination, about motivation, and to how to talk to that with employers. So I think it's going to be a really good workshop. It's lengthier than the 20 minutes that she presented to the coaches, and it's more in depth. So really encourage you to do that. And then Cindy is going to be doing a behavioral interviewing workshop, right? Cindy, do you want to say anything about it?
Where I'm right here. Yeah, I'm
okay.
excited to do that. Our idea here is to be able to talk about one of the most common approaches to interviews, which is the behavioral interviewing approach. Anticipate the kinds of questions that people get in interviews and use the STAR model approach for preparing concise and effective responses in interviews. So we're going to do that, and the plan is to have a chance for people to actually create a story and practice it.
Yeah.
So please let your clients know. And thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, we're delighted. And not only that, but Agata, I think, is also presenting the STAR very briefly, and it'll be a good setup for you then to say, here, we're going to do it in depth interview.
Agata, I just wrote a note to make sure I get to see yours so I can pull it into the next workshop.
Great.
Good, good.
And So we have LinkedIn, the guy who's head of social impact. I think he's based in Berlin, Germany. He's going to be doing a workshop for us on LinkedIn on creating a profile, how to build a network. And then unfortunately, we can only give it to clients this time, free premium accounts. So if your clients want to have, um, uh, it's like $300 worth. For an annual subscription. It will give them access to all the courses that they have on there, and it gives them access to reach out to more people. It's really a good thing, but we're not going to give it out unless they attend a workshop because we don't want these very valuable things to kind of sit and they don't know how to use it. So if they want to get a premium account and they have not been at a LinkedIn workshop of ours before, to please encourage them to come on May 27th. Okay. And again, we'll be getting the word out to them, but you might want to encourage them. So for our coaches, this is what we have. Again, come to London. We'd love to meet you. If you think you can come, please let us know. And we'll send you all the specific information and plan on you being there. I mentioned before, we're trying to accommodate people who are really more in Asia, but some in Europe, having coaching calls also like on a Friday. They'll be on Fridays. You notice we have it about we say every month, but it turns out it's about every 5 weeks we have a coaching call. One's coming up, I think, this week.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, there we go. If anybody wants to attend that one, and you're not on, oh, you're already here. You don't have to, sorry. Never mind. Okay, so the question keeps coming up, can we get credit for this? So for first of all, if you're working on your pro bono hours, from what I recall when I went through the process, you just have to document, how many, your time, the date, and who you did it for with Refugee JumpStart. You could use initials of people. We don't, we've got confidentiality involvement, but also we want to give you credit for the coaching bites because we're really learning some new coaching techniques and things. And so, Jessica, do you want to say how we're going to manage this?
Sure, yeah. So at the start of the coaching bite, I will take note of who is here. And then at the end of the coaching bite, I'll take note of who is here. And so we know that people's schedules don't always afford the opportunity to stay the whole time. But if you have stayed the whole time, I'll make a note of this and you will get every 6 months. We will be sending out a certificate documenting which ones were attended and the topic, and we haven't fully figured it out yet. But yes, keep an eye out in June or in July. And if you need something sooner, just to let us know, and we can update that sooner as well. If you need to submit hours before every 6 months, I can put something together for you.
Okay, great. And so we'll list all the ones. It'll be 1 hour each. And you know how there's core skills, core hours you need. These will be resource hours, and we'll give a brief description of it or whatever ICF requires so that you get credit for that. Okay, just thought we'd let you know that. And just to remind you, we've got additional support for our coaches. We have job search mentors of people who are not maybe formally coaches, but they're really skilled in job search and LinkedIn and in CVs, that sort of thing. And again, contact Jessica and she'll match you up with somebody who could help your client for 1 or 2 sessions to work on something specific that maybe you feel it's out of your area of expertise, or industry specialist. Somebody's like really strong in IT and you know nothing about IT, like me, and they want to just find out possibilities of careers. For an example, we'll match them with somebody in that field or some other fields. And we're going to hear more about well-being, trauma-related coaching support, because what we're finding is some coaches, it's, especially if you're an executive coach or leadership coach, when you start dealing with a refugee, I always say it's a whole new ball game. And sometimes we don't feel as skilled to be able to handle some of the challenges of that. And we want either advice or we want to to have somebody else work with them for a period of time, just to kind of if they seem too much beyond your comfort level of coaching them. So without further ado, our coaching by today is on the role of the nervous system in well-being and coaching with Caroline. Jessica, do you want to introduce Caroline, or do you want to introduce the coaching bite at all? Because I know she's been working closely with them to prepare for this and get this going.
Yeah, so Caroline will be doing the coaching bite today, like Bev said, about the role of the nervous system and well-being in coaching. And Caroline, I know that I trust you'll be able to speak about yourself. But as Caroline will share, she has extensive experience to speak about this specific topic today. And then from there, it'll be a lovely transition into meeting. Not all of our well-being coaches are here on the call, but many of them are. And we're going to talk about this new additional support, like Bev said. So I am going to share my screen for you, Caroline. And yes, we will hear from you.
Thank you.
Is there
so
a way
much,
to
Jessica.
Caroline, by the way? Is there a way to pin her so we
All
can
right,
see?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you. I just pinned Caroline.
Hi. I did have some connection issues. I really hope it's keeping up. So for the ones that don't know me, I'm Caroline. I've been a nurse, specifically ICU nurse, for 20 years. I've worked in different countries, different settings also with refugees. I'm a life coach and spiritual coach and an energetic healer, and I do have a master's in public mental health. And I've done some trauma courses. Yeah, I think that's my background. Currently in India, so time zone is it's a bit different to most of you. So as Beth already said, I want to kind of give a background of the neuroscience of trauma, but I'm very aware of the time given, so I'm trying to pack this very briefly. But I hope it's going to be interesting for everyone. So our clients do have a refugee background. So that means they've all had an individual journey of hardship. They've lived through multiple stressful, traumatic events, most likely throughout the previous couple of years, if not decades. They're facing changes in their life on all levels, and a very, very big factor in the refugee experience, grief. It's the grief of loved ones, but it's also the grief of their home, the grief of their identity, grief of their job, grief of their worldview that they had. So much loss is associated with that as well. And generally, there is no time and space to digest this and heal from those experiences, particularly with trying to settle in a new country, trying to navigate all the challenges. It generally even makes the experience more stressful. In other words, this means that the refugee experience can lead to nervous system dysregulation. So I would like to give a little brief on the system. I'm not sure who's familiar with this, but we do have a central nervous system, which is the brain and the spine, and we have a peripheral nervous system that is connecting from the top of the head to the tip of our toes, connecting all of the organs. We do have a parasympathetic and a sympathetic nervous system. And I think all of you heard of the fight-flight response, fight-flight freeze, also called. It is a survival response that has been very useful and that we're sharing with a lot of animals as well. So when we perceive a threat, real or not real, our sympathetic nervous system is activated. This means our pupils dilate, our heart rate increases, our lungs expand so the air can flow easier, our digestive system shuts down, and the oxygen and blood supply in the blood. So this means in a situation of a threat, we either opt for fight or flight. So either we fight back or we run away, or there is certain situations where it might be more useful to hide or to play that, which then is the freeze response. So those are all unconscious mechanisms that run in our system. They generally keep an equilibrium towards each other. It also means if you have a sympathetic activation, there usually needs to come a parasympathetic response. So the parasympathetic nervous system is mostly responsible and healing purposes. So in the context of the refugee experience, if there's multiple threats or a very large threat to life, or also the memories of that every time, because our nervous system doesn't know if the threat is real or not. So even just thinking of it, it will activate that response. And if our sympathetic nervous system is constantly active without the parasympathetic nervous system, there will be health consequences to our system. So first, I would like to more talk about the regulated nervous system, because it is so no activation of the sympathetic nervous system per se is a problem. This is a healthy system. It is also what ingrained in us to understand what a threat is and to save ourselves from hurt or from death, even to take it to an extreme. So there is an integrated system in our bodies to heal. And there is this natural concept for us to restore the equilibrium. So I added a little video in to show this example with an impala. I hope Jessica can open this.
I'm talking to myself. Sorry, I'm just going to make it big. 1 sec. Can you all see the video screen of the animals? Yes, thanks, Cindy.
Yep.
I'm going to play. Yes, Caroline? Okay.
Okay, so you can see that the impala has been caught. No impalas have been hurt in the making of this video. I just want to say that. So it is currently in a freeze response. It's not moving. The threat now has run away. So you can see the impala is still lying still. And it's now increasing its breath. So it's basically coming out of this freezing mechanism. So the breath is increasing. And I hope you can see that better than I can, but now there is a lot of shaking going on. So that means now it's literally getting shaking off the trauma that just happened to it. So there's a lot of movements, shaking, a lot of nervousness happening. Still looking around, make sure the threat is gone. And it's getting up and run away. So this is the normal response. And generally what we see in animals, there is no damage in that after. So there was the threat, there was the trauma in the system, the trauma has been shaken off, and then go on with their day, and they're fine.
1 moment. I just need to get back. I don't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
that's fine.
Sorry. I
No,
just got to, oopsies, escape. Here we go.
So unfortunately, I think we're a lot in our head. So we don't really allow this mechanism to happen. I don't know if you are familiar with somatic experiencing. It's a trauma therapy that is solely based reaction of the nervous system. So if you, what I also like to say is that the experience of the experience that a person has. So the event does not say anything about the mental state or the health situation of the person. Human life is traumatic. So all of us will go through certain traumas through our life. Also, resilience can only be built when there is certain adversity in our life. But it will take time to integrate. So if it comes to this overwhelming, or if the threat is very close to us and we just never get this moment to rest, then we will stay in the dysregulation of the nervous system. So this means we're constantly on high alert, we're constantly stressed, and constantly our sympathetic nervous system is activated and our parasympathetic nervous system doesn't come in. So I did more how it is to see in our clients. So simply it can be they're not showing up. They're not coming to the appointments, they're not responding, they're late. They're inconsistent, meaning every meeting you have with them, the goal changed or they're saying something different, they forget what they, a lack of focus, they're feeling overwhelmed. Jessica. Or they can also be irritable. They can be reactive to things you say, or there can be challenges in the interpersonal relationship. From the nervous system I showed, easy to see that the sympathetic nervous system will keep you from sleeping. Your digestion will be not functioning normal. Your appetite will not be normal. It can lead to chronic pain. It can lead to immune diseases, hormonal dysfunctions, and yeah, multiple more problems with that. So from this list, we can say that this client might temporarily not be coachable, as he might not be in the space to actually be in the now and focus on the future, as the mind is still very much trapped in the past. So I again want to emphasize, I said that before, dysregulation, it's not a disease. So it's a normal response, but if it persists for a longer period of time and client is experiencing, it can lead to severe physical and mental health problems. If it's addressed in time, then it should be. So the good news about this is that the natural counterbalancing act, because it is ingrained in all of us. Our nature is to be resilient, and our nature is to be able to deal with adverse events. So this counterbalancing response can be activated and it can be learned. So there's lots of somatic experiencing is a therapy, but there is other things like mindfulness, meditation, somatic movements has become big the last couple of years. So there's a lot of different sorry, I can't find the word now, different techniques that can help to learn it. So resilience is a fundamental human trait. It is more common than it is not. And I want to emphasize that the refugees we work with, because they have already gone through some deal.
Sorry, I don't know what that was.
So educating clients that are dealing with trauma, that are still in the past events, teaching them that this is normal, but also educating them on what is not normal and how they can support their own system is very important. So again, knowledge is power. And that's also why now have generated a smaller group within Refugee JumpStart. So we're going to be able to provide that support as the well-being coaches. So Jessica will say more to that.
Yes, thank you so much, Carolyn. It's so important and a great segue into the introduction of our well-being coaches. So just piggybacking off of Caroline, we recognize the complexities within our own bodies of our clients, and we don't expect anyone to be an expert of that, but there have been a collection of coaches who are trained and equipped to be an extra layer of support. So, and we're going to talk a bit about what that will look and sound like for the clients and for the coaches. So there has been a team of 6 stellar coaches. Some of them, like I mentioned, are here today. Aisha is here. Caroline just spoke. Elza is here. Faiza and Joshna are coming tomorrow, but Riva is also here. And this is our team of super equipped, trained, and ready to go well-being coaches who bring a comprehensive background together. So, boop.
Jessica, can I just say, I think Elza had texted me that she's going to need to leave soon, and I think she's got a couple of slides she wanted to present.
I know, yeah. Elsa mentioned me too. We're almost there, Bev.
All right, great,
We're almost there. Yep, I was just doing 2 things at once, but yes, I have an eye on the time, and we're almost at it. So, what the well-being coaches can support the clients in multiple capacities. So holding space for what is going on now, we recognize that the clients apply to Refugee JumpStart with a focus of wanting to develop their career, wanting to transition the skills and assets they had in their home country, now in their country of resettlement. But as Caroline so wisely explained, there are barriers to that beyond a choice. And so the well-being coaches are there just to be a support for what's happening now. Maybe it's not related to the career or school or all of the things that we want to be focused on, but which just happy skills and training that the well coaches are equipped for beyond maybe the, like it's explained, standard coaching competencies. And the outcomes that are to be moved beyond the stuckness. Caroline spoke to this a little bit, and what those barriers that might be that are preventing seeing that what one might imagine growth or success might look like. Of course, this looks different for everyone. Everyone's journey is unique, but the well-being coaches are there to help move beyond this and to navigate and improve overall well-being with the goal of, as Riva kindly helped with this wording, reestablishment of that client engagement. We sometimes have clients who just sort of stop engaging or we lose contact with, and we're really hoping that this can be a new layer of support to really continue enveloping our clients and scaffolding that support, because it looks and sounds different for everyone. So we're trying this out, and very grateful for the Wellbeing Coach team for being so collaborative together. And one more slide, and then it's off to you, Elza. The Wellbeing Coaches are equipped to receive referrals if that client needs some additional space just to talk in the here and the now, not focused on future goals, just what's happening in this moment. Some of our coaches, like Bev said, might feel really comfortable doing this. Is an opportunity that is available. Coaches are also available during the coaching connection calls, whether in breakout sessions or whole group conversations, additional insights. And if you are just wanting to talk something through, not sure, should I refer a client to you, to the Wellbeing Coach team? I really want to try and be this support for a client and to be ears, eyes, advice as well. So we're going to hear from Elza that is going to speak to when a coach should refer a client. So what that might feel like as for what you're seeing within the client, and then
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Caroline. It's been wonderful to put it all together, because it's a fine layer, and it doesn't mean that you cannot coach clients. We're just adding a little bit more because we were all trained in well-being coach, and we could perhaps help these people a little bit further. So if you observe, for example, that the client is not focused in the same way, or things aren't going quite smoothly, like you see him in the next session, he's still out of focus, he doesn't feel comfortable. So this could be one of the issues to consider. Also, you see that despite of all the efforts and the following up with the person, that the person's not making any progress, that the individual has the capacity to achieve something, but it's stuck. That could be that emotions are there, like Caroline said, like I'm in a sort of freezing moment. I can't not move. So we are there to help this person to move on. Or if you also notice that the person's not showing up in the way that was agreed upon in the coaching agreement. So like in every case, you have a contract with the person and you notice the person is not coming the next session, or it's finding excuse not to do certain tasks, or whatever you notice that it's showing up that he's not following up on the agreement. It's just that he's up here and he cannot move anymore. And then if the client's not presenting as coachable, which Caroline also touched, so you feel that you cannot go further on, and perhaps we have to check on this. Remember, some of you who are coaches know the Kubler-Ross phase, the denial, the bargain, the angry, and going back and forth. So if you see that it's really stuck in these emotions, that could probably come to us to provide some support. Okay, so when should a coach refer a client to our being coach? We discussed about there is no right and wrong, and there is no magic here, but we think some of the things that you could consider if a coach is feeling unsettled. So, I'm just out of scope and emotions are taking over. So perhaps it's up to us who have some more of this training to take the person. Or if the person is concerned about navigating vicarious trauma, this is basically a shift in the word wide view that can occur when someone, for example, witness another person's trauma. So this can continue. This could be one of the possibilities as well. And if you also is feeling that the person is ill-equipped to navigate the client's well-being. So if you also notice that it's getting difficult for you to navigate with this state of mind and emotions, so this could be one of the reasons of referring them to our group. And if there is a conflict with the personal boundaries. So that's really like nowadays we are talking about countries' boundaries. I think this is could be pretty much the same way between you and the client. So that could come to us as well. We all met in other sort of sets, most of us. So we all have been quite equipped and trained for these issues. So that's why we came up with this possibility of forming this group, not to take away what you know. On the contrary, if you feel you can go ahead, please do. But if you feel it's getting to these boundaries, then we are here to give further support. That's for me, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you, Elsa. Thank you. Thank you for speaking to that so beautifully and especially important through the lens of a coach. So how can you loop in a well-being coach? There is a referral form. Putting on the drive, and in the summary, I'll make very clear where you can find it. And of course, you're always welcome to just ask me if you're in need of that. So yes, and just an idea of what the process will look like, just to have a idea. The client and or coach, I'm sorry, there's an error there. I apologize. The client and our coach will complete the well-being coach referral. Maybe it's something that the client wants to complete on their own. Maybe it's something that they want to do together. The coach and client establish that the primary coaching is on pause. Primary coaching being the relationship that coach has with their client. From there, I will assign the client to a well-being coach. And I will introduce the well-being coach and client and explain that they have between 1 and 4 sessions. When the well-being coaches and I were speaking, we really talked about a range of things. Sometimes it just takes 1 or 2 sessions. And it was really explained to me that if a client needs more than 4 sessions, then this is not the appropriate scaffold. This is not the appropriate resource. Most likely they need actual professional therapy, which if there is a greater need, we will do our best to research on the ground. But we also, thanks to Caroline, have a list of emergency hotlines, which I believe is already on the drive, but it is something that is accessible. And then after those 1 to 4 sessions, the client and the primary coach will have that reintroduction to continue coaching because like it again came up with the well-being coach team when we were talking, those boundaries and of what we're focusing on when is something that is supportive. And also, the clients are applying to Refugee JumpStart because they want to focus on their careers. The individuals want to be thinking about their future and that privilege to be able to envisioning themselves in a space and in a position that they are excited about and proud of. And here, like you see, there is the idea that the primary coaching will be on pause, and if a client wants to be doing it simultaneously, meeting with those well-being coach while meeting with their primary coach, of course, that is an option as well. So yes, we are I have my eye on the time. I'm thinking about Elsa, your timing. But this is rather than doing the breakout rooms, we thought it's powerful to hear one another's questions, to be able to all be having access to the same information and resources.
Okay. That was great. You want to stop the sharing now so we can see each other? Great. Thank you so much, both of you. It was a great presentation, and I learned a lot. I actually have a question because I know these folks, anything that might feel like trauma or whatever, I mean, therapy, they stay away from. So I'm trying to think about how would you talk about that with a client? For any of you coaches right now, how would you even introduce the concept of passing them off for 1 or 2 sessions to a person who specializes in well-being or trauma or whatever? Like, what would you say? I'm trying to think what I would do. I'm not 100% sure about making them feel like, no, this is not a therapist. Or I'm sorry, I can't handle you. It's traumatizing me. Like, how do you pass it off? If any of you have any ideas on that, I sure would like to hear it.
I could speak to that.
Okay.
So I could begin by simple saying, like, have you ever experienced any kind of therapy? Or do you know what therapy is? So that like start up conversation, and then that opens up the opportunity to explore it more. Then they may be like, no, I don't know what therapy is, or I have had therapy, or whatever. Based upon that response, then we can move further. So in coaching also, there's a fine line. It's not therapy, but some of our coaches are more specialized to address issues when clients are stuck in the now. And I feel like probably you can benefit from that. And if you want more information, I can, like, if you have any questions, any thoughts, I can answer those for you. I'll be happy to. If you would like to explore that, I can make a referral for you. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I'd like to hear from Hussein because my experience with refugees is the word therapy is it's like, no, I'm not insane. I'm not crazy. And they have a real negative appreciation for what therapy could be. So I don't know, Hussein, can you speak to that at all? Or anyone else? That's my reaction. And we're not doing therapy. So I don't know, Hussein, how would you take it if what would you want? How would you answer? How would you talk to a refugee?
And which in a way that is like we won't show them that we are dealing with them as patients, right?
Right. To pass them
Okay.
off to a well-being coach or
Exactly.
something.
So it's like, my experience and my friend experience. Let me speak about my experience first of all, and then it's like I can jump to my friend's experience.
By the
Oh,
way,
yeah.
let me just be a timekeeper. We've got 3 minutes to the end. If people want to stay on longer, we can, but I know that we said we were going to end at 9:15. My
Yeah,
time.
I'm gonna be really brief in my explanation. So it's like, for example, me personally, I'm okay with the therapy, but when somebody's like started to trigger some stuff in my past, speaking about, the journey, speaking about, being in ISIS prison, speaking about like this kind of stuff, I won't be open really easily for the coach to speak about it. I would rather to have a really, how can I say, a trained person in terms of therapy. Yet with the coach, I would be really careful to speak about it more. And I think it's like Beth at the beginning, you and me, if you remember when we were establishing Refugee JumpStart, I was so cautious to speak with Beth about, my past experiences. But then it's like Beth offered me the trust, circle, and we were just it wasn't coaching, but it was just a friend to friend, so we can work things together. I was really more open to her. I was more open about my past experiences, and even I spoke my experience in ISIS prison and one of the World Refugee Day. I think second 2022. For my peer refugees who were participating in Refugee Jumpstart as a client, all of them have a kind of boundaries with their coaches, you know. And I remember one of them. I don't want to name her, But she said, it's like, Hussein, she's asking me about my past experiences. I mean, or my past, events that happened. And then it's like I got confused. How can I organize my thoughts? How can I tell her that? How can I not, like, what should I do? And I was just like, okay, feel free to speak about the thing that you want to speak. You have to build the trust so you can move ahead with your coaching session. So yes, the majority of the people that I know, they don't like to be treated, as a patient or as a client. Sorry, as a patient, of, from the perspective of a coach. And also, Beth, by the way, it's a matter of the power dynamic mindset that we were developing, the refugee mindset, that they're gonna think that you have the power, you have uh, like the superior power over them, and that will make them really vulnerable in front of you. So they're gonna shut down and stop, communicating. And I think some of you maybe experience this, where it's like your client is escaping from scheduling an appointment with you. Some of them is like, they shut down. It's like, okay, I don't want to cut the relationship, but I want to just escape from facing this power person. Yeah, I hope it's like I answered the question.
Uh, close, not quite. I'm still. I guess my question is still, if you're responding that way and you're shut down, and I feel as a coach I need help, and I want to contact a well-being coach to help facilitate, how do I make that transfer? How do I say, there's another coach that I think will be helpful to you. It sounds like you're going through, like, I'm not sure how to present that. Is my
Hi,
thing.
Bev. Oh, I see that there's a number of hands, but I just
Yes.
also want to note that there's Caroline and Caroline mentioned in the chat some one idea is I feel that there's space taking up a lot of that there's something taking up a lot of space. I have colleagues that navigate support that could support you to navigate this. Elza also very much touched to the fact that we are not therapists. And that is also very important. It's a longer message there. So yes, just to, if you haven't put your eyes on the chat, this is maybe you have, but this is also over there. But I see that there are hands.
Yeah. Sorry, I think your hand was up. Unmute.
Hi, yeah, I'm here. So yeah, it's interesting and it's delicate and it's as a coach we need to be vigilant because I mean we're doing 10 coaching sessions with the clients. So in the first few sessions we're just really getting to know them. I mean, when and how do we think we need to set some standards of identifying trauma, like because and then we really more mirror it back to the client what they're telling us. And I mean, how do we identify where that the emotion is too strong for us to deal with as a coach, because we are trained to deal with emotions as a coach. But and I think that one of the things we need to do is if we set clear objectives at the beginning, we can bring the experience that is indicating some trauma back to the clear objectives and see if it's outside of that with the client, remind them of our objectives together and see if this is something that is outside of that. And perhaps we can actually consult with the wellness support coaches so that we can see if it's really a good thing to pass them on. But then what we share with our clients is confidential. So we have to find a way of making sure it's not personal. So it's very, very delicate. And, I did make a comment that, and I'm not sure they're well-being coaches, because I tell my client I'm a well-being coach. So the thing is, it's sort of well-being extra support. It's because well-being and trauma are very different. So I don't want to sort of, when I pass somebody on to another well-being coach, I've already told them I'm a well-being coach. So it's kind of confusing. So I think, we have to be honest and say I feel there's some trauma, or I see trauma, I'm sharing trauma, and then how would you feel about speaking with another coach that is credentialed in this? Is that something that and reassure them that it won't affect our relationship. Maybe both coaching sessions should go on at the same time because we've spent so much time developing trust with these people that passing them off feels almost like a rejection.
Right, right. Oh, good point. Really good point.
And we said, yeah, we said in the flow chart that it's an option. We're going to introduce the person to the well-being coach, but it's not necessarily one is happening in isolation. There's definitely the intention of returning together, and both can happen together. This is a pilot, so we're not sure. For some clients, we know they can manage meeting with multiple people at the same time. For some, we recognize it needs to be more focused one at a time. So the well-being coaches are very ready to go, to be flexible, to accommodate the needs of the situation.
Okay, thank you for that. Aisha, your hands up.
Yeah, so I hear Hussein and everyone's perspective. I also agree with Elsa that we can't come in as therapists. We are there as coaches in the here and now. So it's not about digging out the past or digging up the past, because that can't happen in 1 to 4 sessions. Secondly, there may be behavioral indicators in terms of the client moving forward. From what I understand, is coaching is about the client being ready to move forward. And if they are getting stuck, if they're not coming into their sessions, if they are overwhelmed and are unable to kind of work on the goals that are agreed in the coaching sessions, then perhaps there's something else going on. And maybe they need to unpack that. And maybe a well-being coach would be able to help them with that in the present, and helping them unpack and move forward in terms of coaching. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Mary, thank you for that.
Yeah, just really briefly, something I wrote down while Caroline was talking. And it's obvious, but it's a good reminder, right? Humans naturally want to return to a state of safety and comfort. We don't want to remain in fight or flight. And I think if we are observing that in a client, then we can approach it in terms of, in order for our relationship to be the most successful for you, we need to find that baseline of safety and comfort for you to bring to these sessions. And if it's something that I can help get you there, that's fantastic. And if it takes additional support, so be it. But we're not mentioning anything where the client is wrong or incapable of doing anything or weak. It's just finding that baseline of comfort and safety in order to push our coaching relationship forward. So I just think it's kind of finding that natural state where they feel, comfortable and they're not vulnerable, as far as feeling afraid or, being reminded of trauma.
Right. Thank you for that. That's really good. And I would assume the wellness coaches, there could be times, and I don't know if this happens all that much in our group right now, but that maybe it's beyond a wellness coach. They just need therapy. They just need Doctors Without Borders go to the trauma. They need a lot more intensive kinds of things. So there's a couple, to Sari's point, to know what is referable in terms of well-being, kind of trauma, and some is they really have some serious trauma, and this is not a coaching issue. This is a therapy issue. Setting up, I don't know how to do. Maybe the wellness coaches could get together and help us come up with some quantifiable or whatever, of when do you refer them to therapy, and just say you've got really some serious issues that are making you feel like unsafe and vulnerable, and is there something you want to work on, and if they say yes, then maybe helping them find those sources.
And just to add to that, Bev, I think that that's a awesome reminder that's why it would be so helpful to have like an assessment tool or some sort of an assessment of kind of where they are in that spectrum. And just a super, super brief share. And I know, Riva, you've got your hand up, but working with a client now, the first initial meeting was all about job and career and motivation and et cetera. And the very second one, all he wanted to do was talk about what he experienced. And so I really believe that just flushing that out and making someone aware of what you have gone through, and normalizing that in kind of the human experience is just, it's exhausting to carry it around. And so I think having a session where it's 90% just sharing, and saying thank you for sharing that. Now that we know that we can, kind of move forward. I think a lot of it is just listening sometimes. But I love the idea of an assessment tool or multiple assessment tools, to figure out where a client may be and what resources are best suited for them.
I would assume there must be some instrumentation on that. I don't know if anybody is aware of that, but if there's some validated instruments that will look at kind of levels of trauma or something, I don't know if anybody wants to do some research on that and see what we might be able to come up with, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel and it's kind of, validated. I know Mary's a scientist, so she would
Yeah, I'll poke around. I mean, in my free time, I just read about resilience models and resilience support. And so I don't know. I just feel like
if you could find some assessment kind of thing, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be for clients or for coaches to have.
Yeah, who's saying maybe our past researchers can find out something. Olympia, maybe they've done some research on some of this stuff. She has. Any other, Romana, hands up. Yeah, hand is up.
Yes, I'm still kind of thinking through everything, but I love this presentation. I am a corporate coach, and I also want to say that all of my leaders, I didn't have a single leader that I coached in the corporate environment that didn't start bringing up their traumas, their family dynamics, even though they started their coaching relationship to maybe go to the next level or move to a different role. So I think as a coach, we are trained, we should be, right? Like I've learned to introduce therapy and counseling to a person. And somebody else, I didn't catch her name, she said it very well. It's not, oh, have you thought about therapy? It's about reflecting back what I'm observing as a coach. Hey, what's been happening over the past couple of sessions maybe sounds like, what do you think? How is this coaching relationship still serving you? Or is there something else that may serve you better? And then slowly introducing that. So that's I love the idea of referring to wellness coaches, but I don't know, like I'm comfortable referring to therapy or counseling and recognizing when that may be, but so I'll have to learn how to do that, and I think it's a lovely resource. But also, I'm an energy leadership index practitioner, and there's a tool I use. We would have to pay for it, but I have my first client, and I'm actually doing that with her. And there is an indicator, like the assessment gives you like how the client is showing up on a normal day when everything is going well, and then how they're showing up on a day when there's a stress trigger. And if I see a lot of lower level energies in the normal day chart, that's my indicator as a coach that there's something that's preventing this client from really being coachable in the moment, at least. So sharing that.
Interesting. Yeah. What's the name of that energy thing?
It's Energy Leadership Index Assessment.
Okay. Maybe you can put that in the chat for some people might want to learn more about it. Riva, your hands up.
Hi. Thank you so much, everybody. And obviously, I'm very new to refugee coaching. I am working currently with my first refugee client. So thank you for pointing out that therapy could be a trigger word. And it seemed like very obvious from other coaches' experience too. But thank you, Romana. The way you explained it resonated so much that exactly I'm thinking along those lines, because in my other coaching, that is how I see it. Like I see something different going on here. And then I check in that is this coaching relationship working for you? Is it serving? If not, then what is there? And maybe not. And I really want to be very clear about that. There's no element of therapy in this wellness coaching. And one thing also that I'm thinking aloud right now, listening to everybody and relating to that, this specific coaching space, this is for refugee. So pretty much everybody has trauma and pretty much everybody needs wellness coaching. And all the coaches who are here, they have that grace to offer. They are not like corporate black and white, go, 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 goals and everything. So maybe like not seeing this as a whole separate specific unit, that well-being coaches is like a therapy or something, a very specific unit, but just that additional layer of support for some of the coaches who may feel like, I don't know, I could help this much, but probably this client's emotions are little weighing little too heavy. So maybe some other coach who's a well-being coach can help while this client is able to move forward with me. So rather than seeing it as a very particular unit of RJS, that well-being coaches are some specially trained specific unit, just seeing as additional layer of support only for the coaches who feel the need for that support. So, and correct me, Bev, and correct me, Jessica, if I see it right, that I don't think it means that well-being coaches are not doing the regular coaching. They are doing the regular coaching. This additional layer of support is just something additional that they can do
Yeah,
if needed.
I think part of the issue
Exactly.
is when Jessica interviews them, sometimes the trauma's not so clear. They're putting their best foot forward. They got a career. They want to, and so you don't get it into it. Some of you were saying till the second or third session when they
Yeah.
build up trust with them, and then they pour their guts out, right? So sometimes if we knew somebody was a little bit kind of very vulnerable, we would immediately probably match them with somebody who specializes in well-being. But I could also see, where the coach might just need a little bit of support. Say, I'd like to talk to a well-being coach. I'm an executive coach, and this is a little bit new for me. I would just like, this is the situation. Do you have any recommendations for me? And just to maybe try it out once, and then if that doesn't work, maybe pass that on to another person. But that the coach could develop their skill in handling a particular situation around trauma that they're uncomfortable feeling around. I don't know how open the well-being coaches are for that, but why don't we hear from Caroline? Thank you, Riva. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, I muted myself again.
There we go.
No, I just wanted to emphasize on that. It is not therapy. So, and therapy is a trigger word for many, as you said, Bev. Like, I'm not crazy. I don't need this. But also spoke about this with Jessica as well. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but that a lot of the clients hold it back initially because they're very unwell. They wouldn't actually get the career coaching that they're interested in the first place. So this is really just intended as an additional layer for the coaches that are not comfortable to hold that space in that sense. While we well know that a lot of you are very well capable to do that. But I feel like as a guideline, it's just if you have a client and you feel that it's just not making the same progress as with others and you're not sure why, that's enough reason to maybe just check in with the well-being coaches and see if there's anything to do. I don't think like doing a trauma assessment, asking many questions is just elaborating on the issue. So you also don't want to make the client feel like there's something wrong with him.
Right.
So it's like like we have the LinkedIn specialists, the CV specialists. So I think it's more in that sense of just being like, hey, there's someone that might be able to help you just a little bit more specifically, and then we can focus more on the career, because that's why the clients do come to Refugee JumpStart in the beginning, right?
Thank you so much for that. I think that's a good summary of what this is all about. And Caroline, I really, really want to thank you for your presentation, and Riva and all the people who participated in this.
Aisha also.
Yeah, Aisha. I was trying to formulate how to pronounce her name again, but I got it, Aisha. And Elza and all the people who participated in this, because it keeps moving us as an organization just to a higher level, I think, and more professional development for our coaching. And I'm just really proud of all you. So I want to thank you. And again, thank you, Jessica, for helping to organize this whole thing. And we'll keep our eye on it. And next time, if there's an opportunity, if you've had any experience with clients over this, feel free to share that at our peer coaching connection call to see if you observed kinds of things and that you think, could this person use a wellness? We could use this as a forum to kind of talk some things through as we're still figuring this out. All right. Well, thank you all, and appreciate all of you being here. And wow, we still have 13 people on the call, and we're like, almost 20 minutes overtime. But I think it was an engaging topic. So thank you all,
Thank
and
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye bye.
take care. Bye.